Jack Dorsey, the owner of Square, is announcing that they're going to take Bitcoin payments. This is huge. And Uber's going to be accepting Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin adoption helps the price and gets more people out of financial slavery. My name is Graham Elwood. You're watching the Bitcoin Vigilante. You can support our show right there. That's on chain. And there's ways to support down here as well. So this is the big kind of news that this is what helps adoption. So Square, I've used Square as a comic on the road. People would come to shows, and Square, if you've never used it, it's great. You just plug in and people can swipe a card. There's even now a new thing where they can just tap it and bam, you can link into a bank account. You know, I had a business bank account. So when people would come to shows and buy merch after the shows, they could just pay for it like that. Well, now, you know, when next time I do like a big tour, I want to be able to accept Bitcoin. Square's making you do that. So that's huge. But what that does, and this is, if you're a Bitcoiner, I always recommend go to whatever businesses you use, local coffee shop, whatever, and say, hey, do you guys accept Bitcoin? And just tell them that this stuff is available out there. But this is huge right there. So this was Simply Bitcoin. We've had Nico on the show. I really like what those guys are doing. This has been all over Twitter. Simply Bitcoin. Jack Dorsey Square launches a zero-fee Bitcoin wallet for business owners. That's also big because usually they charge you some type of fee. So 0 fees for business owners. So that means someone can buy something from your business, small business, whatever. You have I don't know, you're selling groceries at a farmer's market. Go to your local farmer's market and say, you know, start accepting Bitcoin. I mean, and you know, if you've got a food truck, if you're whatever, your kids are selling Girl Scout cookies or something. I mean, a lemonade stand. I mean, I would do that. I would absolutely do that. And then here's some other news that's very big right here. Uber CEO confirms plans to accept Bitcoin and crypto payments. Mass adoption is coming. This is nuts. Uber and Square, two very big things. Now I want to talk another thing that's what's bringing the price here. This was just on CNBC because people are wondering, like, so we just had a new all-time high of 126,000. It's pulled back a little bit to 123. People are like, is that it? Is the bull run over? Are we going to go into a bear market? Because that's what it's done in the past. And a lot of experts are saying, no, this is a different cycle than we've ever seen. And this is what this guy, all right, Citibank, with $2 trillion, just said on CNBC.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think going into late 26, your forecast for Bitcoin and Ether are pretty good, yes?
Not mine, but our team's. Yeah. So we're looking for continued follow through there. It kind of comes back to your discussion earlier on how to think about your alts in terms of gold and crypto. And, I think your commentary is spot on there. I mean, I think we just have to allow that. You have a very aggressive momentum driven equity market. And so I think people don't want to miss that. So you're looking for your hedging opportunity. And the way we see it, in addition to central bank buying, as you mentioned, I think that those two asset classes become hedges of choice as you're trying to navigate this ongoing strength, highly valued, but momentum-driven equity market.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. I mean, when Citibank is saying this, and then we want to talk to this Lawrence Leopard, and he again is one of these traditional finance guys that started to see the value in Bitcoin. Here's what he just said.
He says we're going to get inflation back to 2%. He says we haven't lost control, even though he has, and the market believes him because the forward swaps are at 275 for 5-year inflation. Bullshit, but people believe him. When things start to break, he will have to change his tune well before the inflation rate's 2%, and everyone's going to go, that's interesting. He really has lost control. He cannot get inflation down. All those guys who've been talking about inflation is inevitable, they are right. And then you're going to see just an enormous movement of capital from other things into our things. There's $450 trillion of fiat shit in the world. Cash, stocks, and bonds. All of Bitcoin, what does it take? 350 billion, 400 billion? So we're 450 trillion, 400 billion of Bitcoin. Let's call it 6 or 7 trillion of sound money. Bitcoin, gold, gold stocks. Okay. 450 trill of unsound money. Bonds, cash, and stocks. When a quorum of the people come to the conclusion that they can never stop printing and that it is inevitable that they will have to continue to print, they are going to say, please protect my assets in stuff that cannot be printed. All it takes, it doesn't take the whole 450 coming into Bitcoin or gold for us to go way up in price. Even if only 10% of it comes in, that's $45 trillion chasing 7. How much does the value of our stuff have to go up? You know, it's true that in 1980, when gold was very hot and very, you know, everyone thought inflation would go on forever, right at the peak of that market before Volcker tamed it. Okay, in 1980, you know, gold represented 20% of all financial assets, you know, at that time. I mean, gold and Bitcoin today represent less than 1% of all financial assets. So there's plenty of upside here in the sound money stuff, if one assumes that they can never stop printing. And I believe that, you know, with every bone in my body, I believe that. I think other people are coming to believe that, but for our stuff to work, we need more people to believe that. And, you know, human beings do tend to, you know, want to protect themselves. And so, you know, as the word spreads and as the inflation continues to get bad or worse, more and more people are becoming aware, right? I mean, more and more people are being orange pilled, more and more people are aware of inflation, more and more people are interested in gold. I mean, you know, everyone kind of gets it. I mean, this thing is broken. I mean, California, let's send out checks to help with inflation. Oh, that's a good idea. Spain just announced they're doing that. I mean, these guys can't stop. We're in the right place, but sadly, it's not going as fast as I would like, because, you know, we all have limited time on this planet. It's like, let's rip this Band-Aid off. Let's get this over with. You know, let's just solve it.
Wow, that was huge. And so what he's saying is a thing I've been talking about. A lot of people have been talking about. They can't stop printing money. They say they're trying to, Jerome Powell and this and that. We've talked about the Federal Reserve as an illegal banking cartel. So when, and this is the thing I've talked about right now, you know, there's $450 trillion in assets out there that's in regular stocks and bonds and fiat currency. And, you know, Bitcoin is right now 2.3 trillion. And he goes, even just 10% of that flows in, which is $45 trillion. That's a 20-some X. That puts the price at $2.5 million a coin. I mean, you saw little glimpses of it in April. I talk about this, what just happened this past April. The tariffs rolled out, the markets went down, and Bitcoin and gold were the only things that came up. And Bitcoin was at like 80, and people were like, oh boy, it's crashing, it's going to go lower. And then it went to a new all-time high of 124 a couple months later. And now we're at a new all-time high of 126. So it's real simple math. This is when I started really seeing Bitcoin and becoming a Bitcoin maximalist, is when I heard all of these financial experts, these Wall Street guys who were like, wait a minute, this is broken. This money printing, this corruption, the central banks is broken. They understand how it works, and they understand how investment works. And if people, like you said, human beings want to feel safe. And if their money is like not safe, they're going to go, they're going to put it into stuff that's safe. And that's going to be gold, and that's going to be Bitcoin. So I'm not a financial advisor. It's not financial advice. I just want everyone to be prepared, man. We're already seeing it happen. The government shut down. The price of Bitcoin went up. They're going to have to start printing money because people can't afford stuff. And the money printer is going to just keep pumping up inflation. In the 80s, inflation was bad. The early 80s, it was bad. It was bad. I was a kid, but I remember just hearing but you go back and look that up. Look at what the interest rates were. 12%, 15%. I mean, it was nuts. So to buy a house or a car, you had to pay like 12% interest on the loan. Now, if you put your money in savings, you were earning 10, 12% or whatever. But so it's coming. Be ready. Follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth. That's how we make Gotham great again. And support our show any way you can. And buy some Bitcoin. Go right here. This is the one. Go to swanbitcoin.com. If you buy $100 worth of Bitcoin, you get 10 free bucks. You get a 10% return on your investment automatically. This is a Bitcoin only exchange. And get out of the system, because what happens if there's a run on the banks and all that crazy stuff? Oof. Scary to think about. Follow Money Connect the Dots, get the truth. Shave your knuckles for justice. Boom.